Hey guys, still here and welcome back to Transport Fever 2. It's episode 10 and I have some fixing to do. As you guys have pointed out, my train station and tram station in Novosibirsk are connected, but the trams cannot actually get here. Now, I have this little thing called color blindness, and that means that for me, the contrast between this button, the warning button, and the background is usually just not good enough. If I look at it like this, it's, for me, not particularly something that draws my attention. If I'm holding it next to a forest, it's, again, not something that holds my attention. And what might be a different color for you, not very different for me. Now, to rectify some things, color blindness does not mean that I don't see any colors. It just means that, let's say, color gradients, colors which are close together, those are harder to identify. So things like blue and purple or red and pink, those are things that are hard for me to identify. I can recall when I was at some time a couple of years ago shopping with my then girlfriend, now wife, and I was looking at ties. And I picked out a tie which I thought looked good. I thought it was light blue. And she said, "Do you know that you're holding a pink tie?" And I was like, shit. So color blindness is preventing me from seeing these things, and I know that might be very frustrating for you, but I hope that with a bit of context, with a bit of background, that makes it more clear about why I'm not actually seeing these warnings. Now, the warning that the game is giving me is that the tram in Novosibirsk does not have a connection. It could not connect all the stations. So I did a bit of investigating, and the culprit seems to be this. Now the warning is gone, and now I can see that it's not actually red anymore. It has a sort of whitish, greenish thing. And this might very well be the cause for a very, very, well, big lack of passengers over here. Right, so that is something that I wanted to fix and I wanted to explain in this episode. Now, next up, time to upgrade a train, or rather, quite a few trains. I want to upgrade all the trains that are running from Guangzhou to here. So the grain line, the Surat oil well line. I want to see if I can get all these trains upgraded to do 80 kilometers per hour. That's going to be an expensive venture. And by the way, I am not nearly seeing enough fuel on this particular train. Why is that so? Oh, there's a whole lot of oil piled up here, and I'm not transporting nearly enough. Alright, anyway, upgrading trains. What we have over here is the Guangzhou passenger line. What I'm using here are a couple of vehicles. They're similar. We got Train 4 over here. Train 4 is still using a pretty old engine, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, the Russian Class T. Let's upgrade that. I want that to be capable of doing, well, pretty much the best speed that I got, which is 115. That's a fast train. I just don't know if I have something that can go that fast. Answer is no. The Suburban is the fastest at a 100 kph. Now, it doesn't matter if my train is a little faster. It just means that I'll probably have better acceleration because I'm using a little bit less of my power than I should be. Alternatively, I can go for the China Railways at 80 kph. And I could connect a couple of these Putilov trains next to that. But I'm also looking at loading speed at 4 times. That's actually quite a bit more interesting to use this loading speed. So let's go with a couple of the Suburbans. Removing all the standard old cars. Removing the train. I want a capacity of about 70 least. Potentially even more. And these things can do 100. So I will add that Russian, what was it? Russian Class S? Yeah, that one. This is going to set me back 6 million. But these trains can do 115. The thing is, I will need to do this twice. Which is quite expensive. So I'm going to sell off this train. Since that is easiest, and just duplicate the other one. That is one thing set, but now I have a problem. If I do it like this, then the other train, for example the food line, is not fast enough and will start to cause delays. So this is going to mean that I will need a train for this line that is also quite a bit faster. Now here comes our new fast passenger line. I think we're about to see what I mean. This thing can do 30 40, 50. This train is chugging along at full speed at almost 50. And this thing is being told to stop at every sign. So I need to at least upgrade this one. And I probably also need to be upgrading the other train. This one's currently carrying only no food. Yeah, that makes sense because I'm transporting food from here north. This train's not even shipping that much, actually. That's weird. Alright, to make sure that the trains are running fast enough, I'm going to remove this one and upgrade the other one. And then I'll probably have to ship more grain and get some more food delivered here. Because I think my output, so my transport from Surat to Guangzhou, is quite a bit higher than the amount of food that or the amount of grain that I'm actually delivering here. Anyway, this is QZ food. Adjust that train. So all of that off. I was using the Russian class S cargo. We're just transporting food. This thing can do 50. Oh shit. This thing can do 80. Oh, that's annoying. The other trains aren't fast enough. Well, hopefully soon I'll get faster cars. Because this is going to be quite the bottleneck on the whole train line. Unless I set up some areas where trains can pass each other. Anyway, if I'm using the boxcar at a speed of 80, then I don't exactly need that extremely powerful, or at least extremely fast Russian class S. These things can do 80. China Railways is probably overkill. 75, 60. Why is this such a mismatch? Fine, I'll take the China Railways. It's expensive, I'll give you that. It is also not as fast, so unfortunately the passenger line is not going to be capable of running at their full speed of 115. It's going to be quite fast, I think, but not fast enough. Here we go, here's the new train line, or rather the new train, doing 90. Can we get up to 100? 97, 100, and holding. Top speed for the train itself is 100. So it can actually make that speed, although it does take quite a while for it to get up to speed. Now I was hoping that with tick over to 1924 I would get some new cargo vehicles for my trains, but unfortunately that's not happening. Now this train is arriving a hell of a lot faster than it normally would be. So let's see how much cash they bring in. 1.3 million. That is a big haul for these passenger lines. Okay, with that in mind, I'm also quite keen on upgrading that fuel line, this one. This one's currently doing half the speed that the other train is doing. So this needs an upgrade. Unfortunately, this one too has 2 vehicles on it. And that could mean that I don't have enough cash to actually build all that. Because it's going to cost me probably somewhere in the region of 12 million. Which is quite a lot. Also, I'm not transporting enough crude here. There is a ton of crude piling up here. I might need to have just one train doing these loops. Just this bit. Because this is taking me too long. And that means that there's not enough fuel. And if there's not enough fuel, then that means that there is simply not really enough fuel being transported back. So the trains are going to be running more expensive. Yeah, this one has to slow down, the passenger train. This one has to drop off. But all the way over there. Let's see what happens. He passes. The other train is now capable of getting into the station. So he pays 1.7 million. Loads up 70 units of crude. And then we run into that... Oh, actually no, it's a 1-to-1 ratio. It's not a 2-to-1 ratio. The alternative would be that I have my fuel line over here, pick up crude from here, and bring it over there. Currently their line is simply go from the refinery into town. But I think that most of the time there is just not enough fuel. Whereas there is enough crude, I'm just not picking it up. So let's adjust some of these lines. Let's see, what are those new vehicles? Do I need to upgrade? No, all they can carry is 8 instead of 7. And they are... Let's see, the loading speed's the same. They have the same power in this... Or actually, they have a bit more power, but overall pretty much the same speed. Right, so I would want a truck stop, let's say over here. So I don't have to go building a bridge over it. This is simply the cheaper way of doing it. Truck station over there. Set up another street access. Let's do a couple of cargo platforms first. Then street access. And then a road. Still gonna go with the standard country roads because I don't need more speed than 40 kph. This should also make that fuel line more profitable because right now it's just draining me. And I don't like that. Okay, after stop number 2, I want you to go here. And hopefully the game is going to recognize that this is a way of transporting oil that is faster than sending it over here to the trains. Yeah, they're already dropping off some. Anyway, I still need to upgrade those fuel trains. This one. Train 3. Manage vehicle. Adjust. Can I adjust both at the same time? Yes. Okay, great. The cargo. I think the tank car can be upgraded to the increased tank car. Got a new plane as well. I just want to get rid of that train 8. And add a couple of cargo tank cars. These things can carry 12 and these things can carry 7. So that's also quite the upgrade. 70 capacity. 96. I'm not sure if this is actually going to get to a point where I can afford it, but we'll just see. Speed is 80. So I think the China Railways on each of these lines should be enough. Yeah, I need 14.1 million if I want to replace both. And the thing is, I think that it now forgot what I wanted to... Oh, actually, no, it didn't. It didn't forget what I wanted to upgrade. Go. And for those of you who are saying, why don't you pay off the loan? Because I, in the previous video, got a comment saying, hey, that loan has cost you over the last, what was it, 55 years, I think. It's cost you about 55 or 5.5 million. Well, it's called opportunity cost. I can invest this money and make more money with it. And the money that I'm making with it more is far excessive to what I would be paying or what I would be getting in reduction of payment of sorts if I was not doing that. So let's say that I now have a loan of 16 million. I could pay it back and save 130,000 a year. And of course, yes, that repeats. But I can also invest that 16 million and make a lot more money. And that's what I'm doing right now. And that's the last time that I'm explaining opportunity cost, because it seems to be that this comes up every 2 episodes. For future reference, I'm going to be referring to this particular episode and the previous one, because opportunity cost is something that you need to understand. It is an important aspect. And if you don't quite get that you can make more money by just accepting that you have a loan, well, look up the basic economics of it, because it makes sense. Anyway, the Chennai-Novosibirsk line is now also making me money. The train is almost full, so that's good news. And Novosibirsk is growing. Now, something else that's been going on, I haven't covered it yet, is that these towns no longer just require 2 items, they now require a few more. But this is like a random number generator thing. Not all of them seem to have it. Or do they? No, my bad. All of them have it. Just in a sort of different configuration. Surat now also needs goods. No, actually, these are the 2 new ones. The food and the construction materials. Now, the fact that they require food, I think, is perfect. Because that is something that is very easy to satisfy, that particular need. Because I already have quite a bit going that way. Fuel, however, is not quite up to snuff. And hopefully with these cars also picking up oil... Yeah, there's just not enough of it. It's not quite working out. I'm thinking of just telling these trains to... Well, no, I cannot tell the trains to not go there. I can, however, tell the trains not to pick up anything here. But that wouldn't make too much sense either. See, the problem is they don't drop enough off over here. That's what I would ideally have them do. Just drop off more. And just, well, not entirely ignore this particular train line, but at least tune it down a little bit. Because I'm still running with insufficient amounts of fuel. Especially on these larger trains. See, I have more capacity. I can take 96. No, the game seems hell-bent on putting it all over here. Ah, that sucks. Okay, in that case I'll upgrade or adjust this line. Upper Guangzhou. I only want you to unload. I don't want you to load. So this way the train's going to be empty from here to here and pick up fuel here. And this means that this truck stop is probably going to get very, very busy. Because the fuel refinery is, or sorry, the oil refinery is now dumping everything on this cargo platform. And the wrong cargo platform at that. Switch terminal to terminal 1. Because we have a lot more room there. You're happy, or you're lucky that I catch you because I want you to turn around. Because there is still more to pick up here. Alright, so the trains are still good to drop it off here. But they're not good to pick it up here. And hopefully this will fix the supply of fuel over here. And the supply of fuel over here. And between those two, I might get more fuel supply in Guangzhou and more fuel supply in Surat. Now, there was something about the food. The food isn't quite doing as well as I was hoping. This was, I think, one train? Yeah, just one train. And it's not carrying a whole lot. It's just carrying 63. Whereas there's 328 up for grabs there. That's quite a bit. That is quite a bit indeed. I'm considering just making this train line not hit the station, but making it hit this one straight away. That might be easier to do. And then have a cargo train not go here, but go to this specific station. And from here we can ship food to Surat and Guangzhou. Let's set that in motion. Buildings. I want a cargo station. And I want it to have 2 tracks. Let's make it a long train, because I'm expecting quite a bit of demand here. Okay, this train will have an incoming line from the south. These are high-speed trains, or high-speed tracks at this point. That's going to be coming in here. Try not to make it too curved, because then I'm losing out on speed. That will do. So now I can ship it directly to that food plant. So that means that this grain line is now going to go to a different spot. Surat grain, managed vehicles. We're no longer going to Surat. We are going here. Okay, with that fixed, these trucks are no longer really required. So this whole line can just disappear. Managed vehicles, all of them, sell. That was the Surat food line. Or Surat grain to food, that one. I will also need to adjust the line that is getting food from here and transporting it to Guangzhou, because it's now going to have to take it from this particular train station. So let's use the other platform. Let's not go with too much of a terrain change here, if you don't mind. 145, that will do. I still need to sort of tie it in here. Let's see, can I make that connection in one go? 355, I find that acceptable. Now, I learned a new trick. I haven't really addressed it yet, but over here I can do a double slip, which means that the train can also, from here, transition onto there. And that's what I wanted to be able to do. Because we have one of the lines that's going, yep, this one. QZ Food Supply, no, it's the other one. It's Surat to QZ Food, this one. This one is no longer starting in Surat. I want you to go here. That's where you can pick up the food. So what's it doing now? It's coming in on the right track, and it's going back along the north, or the right track. So this allows the train to actually have a pretty easy way of blending back in. Signal line over there. And this should optimize the amount of food that I'm transporting, at least that way. But I can still use this truck stop and make sure that I can provide food to Surat. It just doesn't need that much. Let's get rid of this truck stop, because I don't really see any reason of having it at this stage. And I can tunnel underneath the train station and come up close to the town. Now, what I want this whole town to be doing is making sure that at some point it's going to grow around the train station. No for the trams, no for the bus lines. Alright, let's go down a little bit. And then up. I did try it with N and M, but it didn't quite work. Because I am hoping that there is going to be another neighborhood. Oh, whoa! On this side. Hold up. That's nuts. I need to get to surface level. Just ground level here. That will do. And now just keep it level. Like that. So ideally the town would develop in a direction here. Then over here I might also be able to tunnel underneath. Not for 140,000 if you don't mind. And then we're going to come back up for air. And connect that maybe in the other direction, like here. Okay, now I can tie that country road in. Country roads. Ah, they've been upgraded. There. Now I can set up a line that goes from here to, I think, here. If I'm not mistaken, that's where they needed their food. Where do they need their food? Here. Okay, my bad. They don't need their food over there. They need it delivered elsewhere. There. Add station here. So this is, without caps lock, Surat food supply. And add a couple of vehicles to that. Let's go for 3 of these. Surat food supply. No, fuel supply, that is. Hold. Surat. Food supply. Surat food supply. You're on food, you're on fuel. Surat food supply. Okay, done. Now, there should already be... Yep, there is already some food over here. So that's working out. This train, however, I think is not upgraded as of yet. No, it's just doing 25. Managed vehicle. Time to adjust. Something powerful and something fast. depending on, of course, how fast my cargo units are, and they are still stuck at 80. I wonder if one of those bigger trains can actually pull this and achieve a decent speed. No, it's mediocre. These are a little more powerful. Can you do it? No, still mediocre. I want to get these things up to speed fast. No, actually the Chinese railways, or China railways, have far more power. There. Now I can haul 96. Replace. Okay, with this I should be getting quite a bit more grain delivered. There's the grain. Where's my train? Here's my train. Speed 80. Perfect. Limited, of course, by the cargo... what do you call it? By the cargo cars, because those are the ones that are slowing me down at this stage. Those are the ones that I don't really know how to speed up anymore until I get another cargo item delivered. I need a bigger car, basically. What the hell are you doing here? That was some fancy maneuvering. And that is also not quite what I had in mind. I'm not sure how exactly I built that track up, but I'm quite astounded that it actually works. Alright, load it up with nothing? Wait, what? Yeah, no, that has to... I put cargo for it, for tank cars. This should be gondolas, not the other ones. That. My bad. Mistakes happen. So now I can get this thing right around. And now we're going to pick up the grain. Now I think I will have to add another one of these trains because there is a lot more grain that I'm transporting. And on top of everything, there is a lot more food that needs to be transported. Currently there's just 31 here. For a demand of probably, yeah, 160 near enough. And then Surat itself also wants 31. I need to duplicate this train. Who are you and where are you going? Oh, you're the crude line. My bad. I mistook it for the other one. This one. Yep, that's going alright. I just need to make sure that there's another track here. Ideally just trying to tie that into the other area. Yep, there was... Here it is. Now, I know that these train lines are more expensive than they would actually need to be. But I'm future-proofing. I'm making sure that I don't have to go and upgrade all the lines at a later stage. Set up a couple of signals. Money is coming in really fast, by the way. Signals are there, signals are there. Here another 2. Good. Now this train is making me quite decent money. 800,000 just for a simple trip. Let's go and duplicate that one. Okay, let's check on the train lines that I upgraded so far. This one is doing very, very well. There's 2.7 million in one train. There's 3.7 million between the two of them. That is very, very good. Over here we have a train that's waiting to depart. That's the one going to Chennai. We still have a pretty decent supply of passengers here. I think I might need to add a couple of trams to this particular line. Almost 100,000 for a tram? Impressive. Yeah, that's still the best one I have. Okay. How about over here? Yeah, it's always the same thing. It is always the same thing. It's always this last little bit where these people start piling up. Duplicate that. How much is that line making? 60,000 a year. Here's the train that goes off to Novosibirsk. Packing 56. And there's another 19 waiting. Alright. Now, we also had that train line set up between Chennai North and Novosibirsk. And yeah, it's supplying almost all the construction materials that Novosibirsk needs. The line's making me decent money. It's not bad. It's not great money because there's still quite a bit more demand, or quite a bit more cargo capacity than there is demand currently. And unfortunately, Chennai doesn't need it. Surat does, but it's quite a trek. Oh! What do we have here? The Igorov. Passenger. Nah. Not terribly interested in this one because it has the same speed. It can fit one more person, but its loading speed is half. And you're paying 10,000 more per year. No, I don't think that this is worth it. Okay, here we got our road vehicles. They're transporting food back. That's good, because we're supplying Surat with food. Yep, 10 out of 36. This one still has some grain stored. And they're distributing it between the truck stop and the train station here. QZ food line, capable of transporting 84. So we still need a lot more of that stuff here. Fortunately, there's another 96 coming in. And this one is probably, well, on its way. Yeah, 1.4 million almost. Loading up. And shipping back out. And how is this farm doing? Oh, the farm still has plenty of capacity left. That's good, because I will need to do further upgrades on this. Fairly soon, probably. But that's something else for another episode. For now, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I shall catch you guys soon for episode 11.